Check podcasts.
I want to welcome everybody to the latest episode of House Guests. This is a lifestyle show where we talk about design, how people got to where they are, and everything about the home. We have a couple amazing guests today from Resthouse, one of my favorite stores on Vancouver Island. Welcome so much, Chris and Olga.
Hey, Amy. Yeah, thank you for
Hello.
having us.
It's
We're pretty
so
excited.
great to have you guys here with us today.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We're excited for the connection.
Thanks. So the first thing that we always talk about on the show is how my guests got to where they are today. Because I know you probably didn't wake up and say, ooh, I'm going to sell mattresses. How did you get into this? And what brought you to where you are today?
Well, I think it started, well, for myself, it started when we were back in the day when I was working at Sleep Country, and that for about 15 years I was there, and just sort of saw the way that the industry worked, and just built my own little way of working in that environment. It was quite an exhausting environment with how much information, but it was a good learning ground for how to help people sleep better, right? And so that's kind of where it started, and then the rest is a lot of history, which I know we'll get into. But yeah, it just started from the want and the willingness and the curiosity to help people sleep, right? And it sort of carried over into what is our whole team today, which is just a really bright, listening, kind group of caring people that are helping people get a good night's sleep.
Yeah. So much above and beyond the standard out there right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And for me, well, mine was not a direct route at all. I worked for almost 18 years as a flight attendant.
Amazing.
Did really understand the ins and outs of sleep deprivation, though, for sure. And sort of left Calgary, leap of faith, came over to the island with my husband, 2 kids. We just realized that we needed a new place to land just for health and well-being and work-life balance. And I kind of got into the organic food business, had a couple of jobs in that, and then fell upon Resthouse and realized that they were looking at health and wellness through sleep in a completely different way, which, was kind of serendipitous because I had sort of suffered from a lot of sleep issues and lack of sleep for so long. And just jumped right in, and that's the story. That's how we ended up
here. So then
here.
You and Chris kind of got together at the Resthouse, and that's really what it's all about, is making people's lives better through a well-rested night.
Yeah. Well-rested nights lead to much better days.
And you give them all of the tools. And so for those of you out there that don't know, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I actually was in the store shopping. And the most impressive thing that I found, well, there was a lot of impressive things in the store, but one of the most impressive things is how you guys fit people for whether it's pillows, mattresses, all of those things. They literally said, Amy, take your shoes off, get on the bed, and let's see what works for you, because it's not the same format for everybody.
It's a lot of personalization. I think that's, from the past experience, but also all the information that we've garnered through the 8 years that we've been open. We realized that it can't be just about a couple. I think the industry made it very simple to sort of have it be, okay, hey, buy a bed, buy this one size kind of fits all thing. And we kind of just realized that it's not that way. There's a harmony in doing it slowly and doing it for each person, right? So the customization makes it so much more where it's not about marketing or a big recommendation from someone who's excited. It's more about how can we be more calculated in figuring out what those steps are. And I think that's been our sort of journey through, the development of our brand and our business, through just trying to find easier ways to do that with it being simple. Because sleep is so stressful in most people's eyes that how do you do it with just very simple products that are unique? You take one of our pillows, you can get me excited here now when we start talking about this, but you get our pillows, they're kind of like overstuffed, right? And it's like everybody struggles out there with the right pillow, right? And you get, like, we have overstuffed pillows. So it's like, it doesn't matter what a person's shape is or sleeping position is, we can ask questions and be able to remove that fill to be able to get pretty much any sleeper out there that needs a pillow, the right amount for them, but the ability to be able to adapt it. And same thing with our body pillows. We've done them in all different weights. So we try to look at the sleep system as a more of a holistic thing. It's like not, hey, I got to buy one thing that's going to fix it. It's kind of, it's a sleep system, right? It's something that one without the other may not be perfect. So we've really tried to analyze it from all different angles to make it simple and intuitive. Yeah. So
I was just literally going to say that Chris took the words right out of my mouth as soon as we were talking about this, and you were touching on the fitting in particular. The products are, of course, really important, and they can, like Chris described, all be modified to suit individuals' needs. But the one thing I think that we do really particularly well is the custom fitting, which you were just
Mm-hmm.
alluding to, and looking at it from a whole. It's really a holistic approach, looking at your needs and your wants and desires as well in the bedroom. So there's kind of two things going on. One is sleep and restorative sleep, and then the other piece would be lovely things in your, sleep
yeah,
sanctuary, and sort of how do we bring all that together? And that all happens in this custom fitting where we're listening to you, getting to know you
yeah.
personally,
And there's all the different components that add to how you sleep as well. Because you guys asked me one of the first things, do you sleep on your side, your back, your front, all
Yeah.
of those things.
Yeah, well, we think we're all different. So everybody has their unique sleep challenges, but from a bedroom standpoint, we've almost got it down to where it's like we're writing a prescription. If someone's like 5'8" and they're 170 pounds, and someone's like 6'6" and they're 220 pounds, it's a unique experience. It can't be classified as
Right.
this one's good because it's good. It's like that person we need to hear what they're doing. If they're sleeping on their side
Mm-hmm.
and they sleep with their top leg over top of the bottom leg, that can twist the spine. So there's all these little hints that
Oh,
give us the awareness of what they actually need.
add in any sort of physical challenges, and just on that individual sort of
Yeah,
picture. Again, we have to sort of, that's where the getting to know part goes. Like if someone's dealing with a hip issue, there's like a particular mattress we might automatically gear to right
yeah,
mm-hmm.
away. So just from listening to some key points, we can start in our minds anyway to know which direction we're
yeah.
going to
And
take
what
you
are
in.
some of the mattresses that you guys offer? How do they differ?
Ooh, that
Chris, you
that
start.
the main difference with the mattresses is really how they can be layered to the individual needs. So let's take a queen or a king size. Usually what you're getting and is you're getting a mattress that's like the same throughout the entire bed. The uniqueness of these is they're made from latex rubber. So it comes from the sap of the rubber tree. So kind of like that maple syrup kind of idea, right? But they can be
Mm-hmm.
done in a firm,
Yeah.
medium, and soft layering. So you can have someone that's dramatically different on one side of the bed and get the right support for them without any kind of
Right.
compromise. There's a lot of compromise when it comes to sleep. Someone's hot, someone's cold, someone's like there's always a lot of rules in the bedroom that way. But really being able to do that, and then we go even one step further where there's one that's from Obasan. So our two brands of mattresses are Obasan and Cocoon, right? And those are sort of all latex rubber. The Obasan ones, the uniqueness they have is they actually go one step further, and they have cubes in the middle instead of layers. So you can actually be focusing on the hips and the shoulders and the feet. So it just brings customization down to a lot more specific. And we say this often, but it almost is like writing a prescription. So we take a lot of the guesswork out of it. So you don't have to think,
Mm-hmm.
oh, what do I need? It's like, we got you.
Know where to start. I just
Yeah.
know that I'm not getting a good sleep.
There's two ways to buy a bed from us. One, we'll take you through the process. You'll lie down. You'll spend an hour, and at the end of it, you will get to a place of getting you with a bed. Or just tell us your weight and dimensions, and we'll let you know what you know, and we'll be within
Ooh,
97%. So it's pretty
I don't
easy.
want to
So
do that.
yeah, but some people do. So it's like
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, I think just the nice thing about coming in to Resthouse is you don't actually need to
Mm-hmm.
know what it is you are going to need. It sounds strange, but that's where we come in. So you come in and share what it is you're looking for. We evaluate, and then we work with you to find the right fit. And those layered beds are what get us there. And then all the
That's
toppings on top,
exactly
which
what
we'll
I was
probably
just
talk
going to
about
say
in a
is
minute.
it's really not
Yeah.
one piece either. It's probably starting with the mattress and building from there because it does right down to
Oh,
the
yeah.
linens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have a whole line at Resthouse. Our house line is called Cocoon. Chris has just mentioned it. And we have the mattress, and then, like I just mentioned, all the toppings. Now, some of those might just be brought in from a luxury
Mm-hmm.
perspective, and other times they're brought in specifically from need. So it can be a bit of both. Like if you want a super cozy nest and you're just wanting to cuddle in, we've got the mattress support and density figured out. We might put you on the thickest wool topper we've got, and we know that you're just going to feel like you're on
You're
cloud
speaking my
nine.
language.
There are other people
Yeah.
who like a more, yeah, there are some people who like a more straightforward solution. Sometimes it's just the mattress, and then we're going to play with comforters and different weights and comforters and all wool, or do you want cotton, and do you use one in the summer and do you use one in the winter? So we have our own sort of checklist that we go through, and we don't necessarily have to go through every point. As we get to know the
Mm-hmm.
person, the conversation is driving us to where we
And
need
really,
to
you can
go.
be like as high
Yeah.
maintenance as you want to be to
Yes.
get that perfect sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. The whole point, it's your sanctuary, right? So you've got your sort of your sleep tool, and then you've got your little boudoir that you're creating. And so we're there to sort of meet you on all those
Yeah.
levels.
And then what I love too is because I have the
Yeah.
added layer when I was in the store the other day, for me, it comes down to the feel and function, but then also the look as well. And you guys have so much stuff to sort of pull together an entire designer look.
Yeah, we do. We do. One of our favorite brands that we carry as far as textiles are concerned is McGeachy. They really look at nature for inspiration, which I think most of us are innately inspired by nature anyway. They have sort of some staple colors that they go with, and then seasonally, they'll change certain colors. Like last year, we had Aegean blue, which was this really nice sort of just incredible sort of teal color. This year we've got redwood there, and by the names, it's like Aegean
Mm-hmm.
Sea, the redwood tree. They're inspired by literally the textures of the trees. There are blankets that will, sort of mimic textures in nature. There's embroidery. There's, gosh, what else, Chris?
Yeah.
Linen. Anyway, it's really endless. It's like fashion
Yeah.
meets bedding.
And
I love it. And I
function.
actually surprised myself because I picked was it red cedar?
Yeah, I
Redwood.
think, is it red
Redwood.
cedar
Yeah.
or
Yes.
redwood?
To add as a
Redwood,
pop of
yeah.
color to my space, and it's going to be stunning. I'm
Yeah.
so excited.
Yeah, yeah. And the textures in those pieces also come into play. Like I often say, even when we're doing a fitting, it's like, do you want to come in and see, touch, feel? It's the same as well with sort of the sheets and the pillowcases and the blankets and well, everything that you're adding in to make it your own. I mean, your bedroom is a reflection of you, right? So that's something you always have to keep in mind when you're doing this for
And
yourself.
you really educated me as well when I was in there on thread count for sheets, because I think we've had it drilled into our head that the higher the thread count, the better the product. And that's just not the case.
Not at all. No, we've been battling that one for a long time. It's like I remember back in the days we'd sell these 800 thread count Egyptian cotton sheets and they'd be beautiful and they'd be soft and then you're like, whew, I'm a warm sleeper, right? And it's like they might feel good, but that it's actually the higher the thread count, the less air that flows through them. So it's like probably half of every customer we talk to, they don't know this, right? So it's like that's a very
Right.
big
It's
step,
not how
like
we're trained.
200, exactly, 200 count, 300 count, 400 count. You get much higher, it's going to start affecting your sleep. Yeah, which is why a lot of these sleep myths, out there is something that we have to tackle with because who would have thought? It's like, yeah, you want
Exactly.
to stay warm in comforters. People want to have that breathability, but it's like, and they think wool is warm, but it's not. But you think of a down comforter, and it's like, how are birds going to fly? Where's the air going? Right. So it's like the myths that
Right.
we have are actually keeping us warm, which is helping the industry and the marketing part be able to have these buzzwords that bring you into focus on what you may think you want, where light, low thread count, soft, natural, and that's the big difference. But yes, thread counts, thread counts, thread counts.
Thread counts, and if I can add also just the materials, like we're talking about the sort of tightness of the thread count, but also the materials. At Resthouse, we have three main super simple ingredients from nature, because we were talking about that, and that's wool, cotton, and the latex, the rubber latex. So all allowing for breathability, which is sort of the key factor. Chris touched on people who think that they're actually hot sleepers, and like I have to say 80% of the time we realize that someone's sleeping on a synthetic something, or covering themselves with a synthetic something, or wearing pajamas that aren't breathable, and they're thinking that they've got this internal issue, when in fact it can be remedied just by changing a few little items in your sleep system.
Yeah, and even people sleep in different temperature rooms and such too, right? Which comes into it as well.
Yeah, there is a lot of
absolutely.
There's a checklist. Like you can go on the internet and Google, 10 must do's to make sure you're getting a good night's sleep. You're like, yes, we're talking about inside the bedroom, but someone might think they like a really hot room. Well, it's not the best for you. It's like a little bit of light, black out your room, and are you doing this before bed? Are you having caffeine? Like some of these simple things that people just don't do. And myself, I sometimes read those lists. I'm like, oh yeah, I've been doing that. So it's just important to set that tone. It's like we talk about temperature alignment and support, but there's all the background stuff, and that kind of gets into the whole sleep responsibility or sleep habits kind of thing, where it's like we take it as serious as we do, that working out or the good quality organic foods, if you're into that. And so, yeah, it's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because you can't be healthy if you're not having a great sleep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like what happens through the night, I mean, we all know it. Sleep will determine in a big way how your day is going to go. And think of it cumulatively as well. Like one night's bad rest might be okay, doable. But when you're doing this night after night after night, when you're not getting the restorative sort of rejuvenating sleep that you should be getting, it can take a serious toll.
And to connect a little bit more on that is, it's like, especially in the sort of time frame we're in, there is a lot more mental health, because we haven't had a lot of closeness to a lot of people for a while. So, without sleep, it's just compound. It's just, if you're not getting it, it's a few days, like Olga said, is fine. But I know when I start having 4 or 5 days, I start to crave the sugar, which is a bit of an issue for me. I start to, it starts to roll you down those habits and paths that are not the most intelligent, because you're just tired.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with you.
You're just surviving.
You're just tired, right? So it's like, if you could take one thing and wash everything else away, okay, I'm only going to focus on my sleep, everything else will come around. Well, hopefully.
And there's various different components to it as well that you introduced me to that I wouldn't have thought of. Like, let's talk about the body pillow for a second and the importance of that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Olga, yes.
She's a beaut.
She, and some people have it as
I was going to say the body.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say, well, mine just came out as a she. I haven't actually named mine. A lot of people name their body pillows. I'll let Chris speak to the very technical aspect, and I might just touch on the more emotional aspect. But when you're sleeping with a body pillow, you do end up with this counter pressure aspect. So it feels like there's somebody else in the bed with you, or something that you can kind of tuck up against. And we kind of joke about how it's an adult sort of stuffy sometimes, but aside from all the supportive aspects, just to speak to how incredible it can be. And I was reminded literally in the store last week, a lady came in and bought one. She'd lost her partner, and was, it's a big deal. She's suddenly finding herself alone in her bed. And I've had several customers like this, where they hear her son told her about the body pillow in this case, but she came in for it, and I sort of taught her all of the sort of supportive aspects and details about it. but that's when she just opened up and shared, which happens a lot in our store. It's a very vulnerable place to be for some people. That really for her, this was going to be about that feeling of someone being with her, an emotional assurance in a way. So, but Chris, you should definitely talk about the technical supportive stuff.
I think I almost have to go. I have to go back a little bit, because it's like how does that even work? So I think back in the day at that other place, there used to be the shop that, although I think I named it, but anyways, I saw so many mattresses being sold over and over and over and over again, and you'd have 50 to choose from. So is it a guess? Like, how do you pick one? Right. So I found over time that it wasn't really solving the issue. It was helping a lot of people, but it was just sort of facilitating this buy more culture where it's like, okay, that bed's now sagging, I'll buy another one. So I started to really watch what people were doing with their body. So they did at the time have a body pillow, and I started to sort of watch the success of it. It was almost to a point where some people would be getting 10% exchanges on mattresses. I would get at 1%, because the problem literally is not about the mattress. You want a good mattress. You want something that's comfortable, supportive, and preferably on our end, organic. But our bodies were only being analyzed on how we sleep based on the going to bed state. We're not talking about when our body goes into that coma state, that deepest sleep. And what 98% of side sleepers do is when they're sleeping on their side, gravity takes their top leg and pulls it over their bottom leg. So anybody watching that can visualize that, where it's like, okay, I've now shifted my hips. So now I'm in this deep sleep, right? So really the mattress is no longer doing what it needs to, because now my shoulders collapse. And as soon as the shoulders collapse, that's where everybody's problems start to happen, is because your neck actually tilts up. Your shoulders are now pulling into each other, and you're pushing all the weight down into that shoulder, into that arm, and also twisting your lower back. So nobody talks about that in the bedding industry, because that would stop people always buying new mattresses. Like, you could literally take half the mattresses that are sold out there and not replace them by working on your alignment. So when you bring in that body pillow, it actually goes in between your knees, and then you bring it close to your chest. And especially for people with wide shoulders, not especially, but really important, for wide shouldered people, you now tuck it up, you curl it a bit, and now the shoulder no longer comes down. And when the shoulder no longer comes down, now you're open, your chest, you're breathing better, you're not twisting your spine, and you can stay in one place.
Well, I want to thank you guys so much for giving us all these tips. And I think that it's a great place where people can start having a wonderful sleep. But I think they do need to come and see you, specifically at the new store.
Definitely.
And get a great sleep of their own.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, come May, we'll be up at Uptown in Victoria.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys both for being here today.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for watching Amy McGeachy's House Guests. You can watch more episodes on Check's streaming app, Check Plus. You can also subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll see you next time.